What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. How's it going, people? It is Tuesday going into Wednesday here for me. Another day. Coming into work, feeling like something's wrong with my vehicle. Just thinking about life and how every time you're ready to do something happens in life. And yeah. What really got me thinking about life today was that this little boy, he was only 13 years old, and he had went missing, and it ended up that there was no foul play involved, but he died, like, I'm assuming it's drowning in a pond because they found him in a pond, but he was a little skateboarder, and he was kind of out doing his thing, and yeah, he died, and I was talking to my husband about that, and my husband's like, that's sad, which it is, but you know how many things we do that should possibly get us killed through our youth? It's kind of like the movie Stand By Me. We do so many crazy things, kind of, not everybody, some people live their childhood wrapped in bubble wrap, but for all those crazy kids out there that didn't die and ended up being a middle-aged adult like me, is it cheers or is it like only the good die young? I don't know. My outtake on death is always different from others because, life is not easy. And I figure the little dude, he went out skateboarding and living his life. I mean, he didn't get to have a full life, but what is a full life these days, right? I guess it's like half glass full, half empty, however you want to look at it. They always say that the death really is harder on the living, obviously, than us. And I look at my life and how many times my life has flashed before my eyes, and in the way that, like, it was something stupid that I was doing that I just didn't happen to die at that time. And you think about that and you're like, man, I surpassed that, but I'm still alive. And living is a hard job, even on your worst or best days, or your slow days, or your bored days. We are not invincible. We all die. And I know I'm opening this up very morbid and dry, but when you look at somebody that died young, and not to any other fault than just being a kid exploring, it's kind of like, he went doing what he loved. I know when I was, not to compare, when I was on vacation, I literally almost fell off a rock and hit my head in one of these stupid nature pools where they don't have a lifeguard. And I was like, you know what? I literally almost died. I don't think my husband realized I almost died, or all the people around me, but it just was luck that I didn't. Luck, I guess. Right? Because if you were to die on vacation, would that be the most horrible thing? I mean, it really would be for the living. And I know this conversation is going downhill, but, I think about those things sometimes. Yeah. But my condolences to the parents after all. Let's see what is happening. Brown widow spiders are killing off black widows. That is the way I don't want to die. I don't want to die by getting bit by a spider. I'd much rather fall in a pond. Jamie Lee Curtis is still getting a lot of backlash from people. Let's see what the people are saying. Someone said they gave Jamie Lee Curtis an Oscar for a movie she was barely in because that stupid industry has been ignoring her whole career, only to also ignore Angela Bassett, who is beyond deserving of the award. Yeah, let's face it, Jamie Lee Curtis was never going to get an Oscar for playing in Halloween. So, I get it. I mean, as far as acting goes, Angela Bassett should have got her Oscar for Ike Turner. That movie was, the way that she had to fight for her life and get beat and sing and dance in that movie. And if you've never seen it, what's love got to do with it? Watch me and prove me wrong that she didn't deserve an Oscar. But, you know, a lot of good movies that were in the past that didn't get the Oscars that they were due, like Color Purple, no one got an Oscar in that movie, and it was really a good movie. So, you know, it's kind of stupid. I don't, that's why I don't sign on to the Oscars, because the people they pick is movies we'll never watch and crap like that. Let's see. Just going through this thing. Think your grocery bill is high now? Just wait. Yeah, let's keep living for that. Dogs living in Chernobyl have adapted with DNA mutations, studies suggest. But have they turned into mutant dogs yet? McCormick is getting a new chili powder thing, if you were worried or wondering about that. Inflation, consumer prices rise 6% over the last year in February, slowest in September. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. There is a police impersonator going around. Be careful of police impersonators, guys. In a perfect world, we'd all just drive to the police station, right, and make sure the right person has us, but what can you do? Woman leaves fake ID at Houston, Texas car dealership, never returns from the Chevrolet Impala test drive. That lady was out. See, this lady's living her best life. Did they find her? Let me see. No, she's still out on the run. Possibly joyriding, possibly not. Man, that lady's ballsy. Well, interesting. Let's move on. Those were just a few hot topics that I saw. Nothing amazing. Still talking about the SVB bank. And so Michael Irwin, he has released a video of the alleged encounter with his accuser. He's going to sue the hotel, and I'm sure he's going to win. He's released footage of his encounter with a female hotel employee who accused the former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver of misconduct during an interaction at Super Bowl week in Arizona. As a piece of evidence, as he attempts to clear his name in a press conference Tuesday, Irvin was joined by his attorneys in the wake of his $100 million lawsuit against Marriott, which he has moved from a federal court in Texas to an Arizona court. I'm so thankful for this video because without it, I don't know where this would have gone. Irvin told reporters prior to the footage rolling. Irvin's attorneys provided those in attendance with an informational package on an alleged series of events entitled Important Times. There were also separate sheets titled What We Don't See and Things to Watch Out For per outlet. Lawyers for Michael Irvin showed surveillance video from the hotel where employee made a sexual assault allegation against Irvin. The length of the conversation was nearly 2 minutes. Irvin says he talked to the woman about sports shows he's on Fox. The video features the encounter between Irvin and his accuser. It just shows that he shook her hand. Elsewhere in the video, Irvin can be seen touching the employee's arm before the two go their separate ways. Irvin had been in Arizona to cover Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Eagles, but was subsequently removed from his TV duties both by NFL Network and ESPN in light of accusations. Irvin's press conference comes days after Marriott filed a motion Friday in relation to the suit, which alleged Cowboys legend displayed aggressive behavior toward the employee. Irvin also reached out and touched the victim's arms during the conversation without her consent, causing her to step back, becoming visibly uncomfortable, the filing stated. Irvin then asked the victim whether she knew anything about having a big black man inside of her. Irvin then attempted to grab the victim's hand again and said he was sorry if he brought up bad memories for her. The victim pulled her hand away and tried to back away from Irvin as he continued to move towards her. Irvin's attorney, Levi McCarthy, has denied the allegations. The allegations are nonsense, and we immediately need to get Michael back to work, and we need Renaissance to apologize to him, McCarthy said last week, referring to the Renaissance Phoenix downtown hotel. As for Irvin's lawsuit, it now names 4 hotel employees in addition to Marriott. So this is going to be really a classic case of he said, she said, because obviously there's no audio on the thing. Irvin, I don't know. That statement of what she's saying is kind of wild, but it's just a bad look all around. Hopefully she's right. The hotel has no choice but to stand behind her now that, all this has happened, and the deals, he's definitely not going to let this go. But men and women, beware out there. If this is fake news, you have to be aware of interactions you have. I know Rev Run from Run DMC said it best, he doesn't go nowhere around a woman if his wife's not present, because it's dangerous. People can trap you up big time. It is a new world we live in, kid. Let's see. Free diver breaks world record after plunging 170 feet in a frozen lake. See, this is a person with a death wish that clearly has never died but wants to continue to attempt at it. This is some people love to cheat to death. Prosecutor in the arrest case steps down after Alec Baldwin files for the prosecutor's removal. San Francisco is considering $5 million reparations check for black citizen. All this consideration. Show me the money, man. We don't need no consideration. Miami hotel may lose their liquor license after kids shown sexually explicit drag show. This is interesting because Miami, they have open drag performers all the time. So this whole crackdown on drag performers are very interesting. Wow. Texas mom fatally knifed her 4-year-old son as the grandma looked on. A Texas mom has been charged with fatally stabbing her 4-year-old son in front of the boy's grandmother, who has also been charged in the connection with the death. Monica Figueroa has been charged with capital murder for the death of 4-year-old Grayson Hurt. Her mother, Mary Johnson, has been accused of endangering the child. The Athens department said Johnson called authorities to her daughter's home around 6 a.m. and the police she feared for her daughter had armed Grayson. Police arrived to find Grayson's body inside the door, partially covered with a blanket. The child had been dead for hours. Johnson allegedly told police she saw her daughter on top of a blanket that had been rolled up and stabbing the fabric during a wood-handled knife. Johnson heard the child screaming before she observed Figueroa cutting at the blanket and then the screaming stopped. But Johnson allegedly left after her daughter threatened her. She reportedly called the police when she returned the next day. Grayson appeared to have died from injuries caused by an edged weapon. She's held on $2 million. Her mother was held on $250,000. That's a wild story and confusing because I don't understand, one, why she didn't even just call the police with that happening. Bill Gates' daughter is tired of being memed from dating. She has an interracial relationship, and it is all the craze that Bill Gates' daughter is dating a black man. Like, the world can't stop talking about it. Paris Hilton is writing a new memoir where she reveals a surprising number of dark twists and turns and also explains why it's obvious she has nothing to do with her sex tape. I would have props for hair and makeup and wardrobe. Like, she would have wanted to be hot. I just wanted to say that. But she said the lighting would have been better. She writes, I would have had proper hair and makeup, wardrobe. The camera angles and editing would have been more flattering. And Hilton astutely knows that she would not have had the poor taste to dedicate a porn flick to the victims of 9/11. That is wild. I didn't know it was dedicated to that. She never refers to Solomon, a former professional poker player who also married Pamela Anderson twice, by name, instead describing him as coarse, arrogant, and perfect guy for a girl going through the most destructive moment of her life. Gotta love those guys. Hilton, now 42, reveals that she doesn't remember much from the night in question, which happens to be a night in Paris, which happened that day party, only that Solomon had often said it was something he did with other women. He kept pushing. I kept making excuses. Solomon told her it was just for us. No one else would ever see it. And then he told me if I wouldn't do it, he could easily find someone who would. And that was the worst thing I can think of, to be dumped by this grown man because I was a stupid kid, didn't know how to play grown-up games. The confession of a Harris author also admits that she wanted to be alive in a sensual way. Even though she was famous as a sex symbol, Hilton confesses that partly due to her horrific stay in a boarding school for troubled teens, she feared sex and hated the idea of it. Craving intimacy, she loved kissing, she writes, but would freak out if it led to sex, which sometimes led to her being branded frigid or a cock tease or accused of faking it. The Stars Are Blind singer writes that friends would talk to her about having orgasms, and I was thinking, sure, that doesn't even exist. I thought it was something in the movies. Hilton, the snippets of the tape came out while she was in Australia promoting The Simple Life. Within hours, news of the tape was everywhere, along with rumors that it would be followed by a full-length porno. He sounded distant and cold, she wrote, saying it was too late, it was already out there. He said he had every right to sell something that belonged to him, something that had a lot of financial value. The former socialite says the sex tape was devastating, causing immense anguish for her family. The release of that video cost me an insane amount of money, she writes, and more importantly, it devastated my family and will never go away. It's out there waiting for my children who will be confronted with it someday. Hilton also goes into great detail about the time she spent attending the Utah's Provo Canyon School, a controversial boarding school and youth residential treatment center for troubled teens. She claims to have undergone physical, sexual, and psychological abuse there, and even testified about it before the Utah Senate in 2021, leading to reform for residential care for teens. Hilton spares Rick and Real Housewife Beverly Hill star Kathy Hilton sent their eldest child there after she constantly snuck out to New York City nightclubs to party after landing herself on page 6. Sometimes party nights went on for days, and I came home to find my mom sitting on my bed crying. The stay is still a touchy subject in the Hilton family. The decision to send me away is a rough topic for my parents to admit. They haven't shown me any records from it. We're all living in brutal legacy of this in the best way we know how, and they have expressed great regret. For a long time, I just wanted to hear them say, I'm sorry we made a terrible mistake, but they're just not there yet. Maybe they never will be, and that's okay. The formal model also reveals that as a middle schooler, she was groomed by an 8th grade teacher who called her almost every night, telling her how amazingly mature, beautiful, intelligent she was. Hilton writes that the teacher, Mr. Abercrombie, groomed her by explaining that Priscilla Presley was 14 when Elvis Presley fell in love with her. Eventually, he came to her family's home while her parents were away, and the two kissed and eventually caught together in a car by her mom and dad. In a recent Glamour interview, Hilton also revealed that she was roofied and raped at age 15 by a man she met at Los Angeles Mall. I have visions of him on top of me, covering my mouth, being like, you're dreaming, and whispering in my ear, she said. Hilton also writes about her first serious boyfriend, model Jason Shaw. The two were engaged from 2002 to 2003. I love Jason, and we talked about spending the rest of our lives together, but I knew I wasn't. I don't know, and jumped. She eventually found her happy ending with Carter Ream at 42, whom she married in 2021, and she has had her child via surrogate. So, happy endings. You know, it's kind of wild because I didn't know Lindsey Lohan was pregnant. Interesting. It's kind of wild because, you know, you think these people with money and they have like some kind of supervision, but it looks like, you know, you would think like as a so-called socialite and living in the camera and all that these parents would educate their kids on people that would prey on them, especially people with sex tapes and crap like that. So hopefully, her book like opens the eyes of people that are even considering, making a sex tape, because like she said, it will be around and it will confront her kids eventually, which is, things that you have to think about before you just be out there. Listen, I tell my sons all the time, like, mommy could have been a stripper, and I could have been, but for the sake of my sons never seeing me in that light, I didn't. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's absolutely true. Like, I've made decisions in my life to protect my children. I know a lot of people, money talks and they don't think, but Gisele Bündchen, Tom Brady's ex, is out on a stroll with her jiu-jitsu instructor. She's getting all the men. Go, Gisele. Live your life, boo-boo. Yeah, that Paris Hilton thing was a lot of reading, and I didn't expect it to be long. I mean, they practically told us the whole book. Like, what's the point of buying it now? Not that I would, but if you were thinking about it, I've practically told you everything that you need to know about the book. Lil Nas says sorry to the trans community, transitioning joke after taking it a little too far. He has a very dark sense of humor. I guess he posed in drag saying the surgery was a success, and he crossed the line. People did not like it. I don't know, it's interesting. I mean, you never know who you're offending these days. Someone said Lil Nas stunt shouldn't be that surprising considering his history, and this isn't virtue signaling. I love Lil Nas, and I think that some of his antics are causing really frustrating conversations for trans people, specifically black trans folks. His fake pregnancy photos opened up an ugly can of worms, and today's transition jokes feels similar. Lil Nas really pissed me off. Like, why would he subject a trans person to more violence over a joke that was really already questionable? Little Nas gotta know when to troll and when not to. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just young and immature, and he needs to. I mean, if he's in the public eye, he's gonna have to deal with people being, annoyed with things that he says that aren't politically correct. Don't tell me 21 Savage got back with Amber Rose. No, that's old. I was about to say. Now, why is that old news popping up? I have no clue, but no. I know she's way too old for him. Let's see what else is happening with these stars. A bunch of people that I really just don't even know. Wyclef Jean was in the hospital for stress and exhaustion. Pauly Shore getting like Oscar jabs that said they weren't funny. I like, Pauly Shore used to be like Mr. MTV, and he kind of just like disappeared off the face of the earth. Sammy has came back to Jersey Shore, and the cast said they did not know that it was happening. I can't believe that show still comes on. But somebody keeps watching it. I don't know who is, but you guys keep watching it. Yeah, Lindsey Lohan's pregnant at 36. Black China is doing a whole transformation. She's dissolved her face fillers and she's removing her nails. Angela White is going by her name. She's getting a breast reduction and a butt reduction. She's completing her transition to natural woman by swearing off stiletto nails. 34-year-old Mama 2 commented to a follower who asked her to please get some face filler dissolved too. She replied that dissolving the face filler was next on her list. China's transition to a natural woman began after she admitted to undergoing 4 breast surgeries, liposuction, and butt enhancements since she was 19. She posted a series of videos to Instagram documenting her plastic surgeries. China admitted that the surgeries didn't help improve her self-esteem. Her grossly exaggerated body only made her feel devalued. In an image that shows short nails, she wrote, "I feel so free without the long stiletto nails. Shout out to all the women that wear them." In a video on YouTube, China begs her followers not to get silicone shots. "I just want all the ladies out there to know, do not get silicone shots because you can get sick, you can die, have complications, and all this other crazy stuff." She also said she's removing her stiletto nails as a sign of personal growth. "This is actually my 5th time, hopefully my last time, to get my breasts done. I'm past that stage, been there, done that, and I'm going to pass the baton to the younger lady," she said. Black China's growing up, guys. Yeah, I mean, I'm always like, believe me, everyone wants a flat stomach and perfect body, but the reasoning behind it is always like, and especially somebody in, I don't know, limelight or not, you're going to be looked at and ogled. And I know for her being a former stripper and all her issues with her mother and stuff like that, it is, I'm sure it definitely messes with your mind. Usher fires dancer who made him fall at the Las Vegas residency show on his skates. Dang, Usher. You can't be having Usher fall, though. He wasn't with it. We have had a lot of hot topics today, way more than normal. It's been a busy news day for the famous. The Texas judge there's a case down there considering whether they're going to order the abortion pill off of the market.
Yeah. Just a bunch of political news. Trump and DeSantis going back and forth. Jussie Smollett's alleged accomplices are speaking out in a new interview. Do I want to play this? That case, I was so happy that it was over. Didn't play. Must have not been meant to be. But the accomplices are speaking out. So a podcast host was killed by a stalker. A Washington State podcast host who was killed by her stalker last week said she had a deep-seated fear for her safety, writing in a request for a protection order that the man tormented and harassed her and her husband for months. Zoreh Sadeghi requested that the order last 99 years because the man, Ramin, 38, had shown no indication that he would stop his frightening and dangerous behavior. He said many times that nothing short of his own death will make him leave me alone, so I would like the order to last as long as possible, the request said. The order was filed March 3rd, exactly 1 week before police said that the truck driver broke into her home about 15 miles northeast of Seattle and fatally shot her and her husband. Her mother escaped and called 911 from a neighbor's house. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot. The shooter apparently got to know her through her podcast she was doing. Green said that the pair struck up a kind of a friendship, but that she cut it off because he began to send a lot of messages. The protection order details a terrifying ordeal which began late last year. She said that she blocked his phone number and social media accounts, but that he used different numbers and fake accounts to continue contact to her. And one day he sent 82 messages through an app. She said she had anxiety and insomnia, and she wrote that the voicemails would include him crying and begging for me to pick up him threatening to burn himself in the tree in front of my house, also telling me to either delete my Instagram account or make it public so he could see the content I post. He had bursts of anger and he was completely delusional. Yeah, that is wild, and I could tell you guys that very scary. I mean, you try to have relationships with the people that follow you online, but I mean, it's hard enough to know people in real life, let alone something like this. Yeah. Let's get into a few of our little Reddits before I sign off for the day. I have done way more reading than I thought I would, but it's been an interesting day. Let's see what the men are talking about today. What are some reasons men want to remain friends with their ex? I would like to know that. Because we had a healthy enough relationship with her that we can be platonic after breaking up. Because even though a relationship didn't work between us, she still was someone I liked and wanted to remain friends with. Sex, right? That's what every woman thinks. Just because the relationship didn't work out doesn't mean friendship wasn't there. I've had ex-girlfriends who were pretty cool and I learned a lot from them. Others, I wanted to continue to have friends with benefits if it was possible. I'm sure it depends on relationships. See, this is an honest guy. Friends with benefits. That's why you stay friends with your ex. Let's be clear. How long would you wait if you're really interested in a girl? Someone said a while, but it feels like if I'm being tested, I'm not. Interesting. The how long would you wait question. I think, like, for me anyway, I like to try to wait if I were single for at least a month. I need to know that you're not crazy. I need a good solid 3 dates for real. And in today's society, it might even be more for real, because I'm telling you, it is kind of weird. How do you get over, so this is Ask Women, I switched on y'all. How do you get over losing the love of your life? It's been nearly 4 months and I'm still heartbroken over him. I can't stop thinking that if only I were prettier, smarter, or more charismatic, he might have thought I was good enough. Someone said, you'll drive yourself crazy thinking like that. Give it some time and you might realize he wasn't as great as you thought. Someone said, there's really no good advice to give. It truly is the only time that can heal. However, the only thing I'll say is that you need to start shifting your words and it will start to shift your perspective. He was not the love of your life. He was the love from your life. When you meet the love of your life, there'll be no doubt on your end. There won't be a am I good enough doubt. You can't make someone your person if they're not yours. It's going to hurt, but the heartbreak you're feeling will lead to the love you receive and deserve. Think of it this way. If he is the love of your life, you wouldn't lose him. Yeah, I mean, words matter. And even if you're feeling it inside, I'm very big on not speaking negativity out into the atmosphere. Even though at this start of this, I talked about death. But death is not negative to me either. So, but I'm not big on like sulking or dwelling. Even though I feel sometimes like crap, and sometimes I'm just like, what's the point of it all or whatever. I'm very big on not, I'm very big on what I put out into the atmosphere. So you have to just make yourself think positive sometimes. Should you warn a girl before hooking up if you aren't big down there? Just curious, what's the best way to handle this? I really didn't want to be awkward for either of us, so just wondering if it's worth just mentioning it beforehand. Bringing up your penis side would in fact make it super awkward. You just gotta let it happen, like others have said. It's not the size of a house shoes. If you bring up your size beforehand, I assume you don't know how to use it no matter what the size is. Don't disclose the size. It would be awkward. I would honestly have no idea how to respond, but if she asks, probably won't. Don't lie. It's not a big deal. If not, something you control, and we know that. If she's willing to hook up, you might ruin it by mentioning your size. So what if it's small? You're assuming she has to have it big, and that's your issue. You're judging her. Yeah, a lot of people said cross that bridge. I mean, I was laughing at that because I've seen small ones before, and I know I'm not gonna do nothing with that. And I'm just not, and that's just me. I didn't realize I was shallow like that, but yeah, it's just, but I don't know. I wouldn't want him to say like, hey, I have a small wanker. But if you did, then maybe we should decide that we could take, if we're mature enough, we could take our relationship to a friendship level. Size matters to me. It doesn't need to be huge, but it needs to be something that is like adult size. And I know this is terrible, and I never thought I'd be one of these people, believe me, until I saw a small one, and I was just like, I wouldn't be able to take it seriously. I just wouldn't. But that's just me. Would I like to be told up front if you have a small one? Yeah. Just say like, hey, I'm not really packing down there. Is that okay? I think like people should just be brutally honest. Like, what is wrong with that? Because say, especially for a guy, if you're spending a lot of money on a girl and like
thinking you're going to get to third base, and then you get there and she sees his size and she's not happy, then you save yourself some money. So if you know in your heart that, and obviously to me, the person asked this question obviously has been rejected due to this, I feel like, yeah, you should be upfront for sure. For sure, man, because you're a man and most dudes have to spend money on dates. And I'm just saying, save your money. See if that's going to be a problem for her. It's kind of like I still live with my mom. Like, you should disclose that too. Or this isn't really my car. Or I really don't have a job. Or I'm married. Like, those are important things that you should disclose before you spend this money on these dates and stuff. And then you find out the girl doesn't really like you. Then you feel she's led you on and yada, yada, yada. You start stalking her. You break in your house and shoot her and her husband. I mean, this is how these things lead. Yes, I jumped the shark. You guys, you're so great for dealing with me. I know I'm a crazy little girl sometimes, but this is how my brain works. F is for Family is signing off. I hope you guys have been enjoying my reading. It will be coming to an end soon, because as soon as I get back to being able to play some stories for you guys. But I've gotten used to reading and picking things. I think it's gotten better. We've grown together. But yeah. Soon I'll be able to rest my vocal cords in about 2.5 weeks. We'll be back to story time. So we'll see what crazy people are up to in this world. But in the meantime, you'll have to deal with my voice for a little bit longer. F is for Family is signing off. And I have not given up on doing a more, I don't know. I mean, my podcast is really for people with ADD, because I hop around a lot of subjects and I can talk about a million things in under 30 minutes, as you can see. So I'm one of these people that, like, you know, people have podcasts about like murder and mayhem and every episode is about this same topic. I have ADD and it will never be like that with me. I'm more of a what happened in the news today, what's going on today, and what bee is in my bonnet today kind of person. So if you have ADD like me, this podcast will always be for you. F is for Family is signing off. I'm going to drink water and be back with you guys tomorrow. Toodles.